Every day, more than 400 million M&Ms are consumed worldwide. Their striking color, that crunchy sugar shell, and their delicious chocolate interior make them one of the most popular candies in history. But have you ever wondered how they are actually made? What makes every M&M so perfect and so addictive? Well, today we will travel to New Jersey, United States, home to the largest M&M's factory on the planet. A place where more than 40 tons of chocolate and sugar are transformed daily into millions of small spheres ready to conquer palates around the world. So get ready because you are about to discover how M&Ms are mass-produced. Let's begin. Step 1. The birth of chocolate. It all begins in the enormous cocoa plantations located in the tropical regions of Africa and South America. The company works exclusively with certified suppliers to ensure a cocoa with the exact balance of aroma, acidity, and fat needed to achieve the candy's unmistakable flavor. When the cocoa pods reach their optimal point of maturity, the harvest begins. Thousands of farmers cut each pod by hand and extract the fresh seeds, which immediately undergo the fermentation process. For 7 days, the tons of beans rest in large wooden boxes, reaching temperatures close to 50 degrees. This is where the first great transformation occurs. The heat causes natural reactions that completely change their flavor and aroma, turning them into the intense, unmistakable cocoa that will later give life to the heart of every M&M. After fermentation, the beans are spread under the tropical sun to dry for several days, reducing their moisture to ideal levels for transport. Once ready, they are packed into large jute sacks that travel by truck and ship to the processing plants, where the real magic will begin, transforming simple cocoa beans into the chocolate base of every M&M. Step 2. Arrival at the factory and creation of pure chocolate. Once the sacks of cocoa arrive at the plant, mass industrial work begins. The tons of beans are unloaded into enormous stainless steel silos and immediately go through a cleaning process where air jets, controlled vibrations, and filters eliminate dust, shells, and any impurity. Next comes one of the most decisive phases: roasting. The beans travel through giant ovens that reach up to 150 degrees Celsius, and under this extreme heat, they not only acquire the characteristic dark color of chocolate, but also release an intense aroma that permeates the entire plant. After leaving the oven, the beans pass through crushing mills that break the shell and expose the internal nib. This nib is ground into a thick paste called cocoa liquor, the purest base of the chocolate. At this point, the liquor is introduced into enormous industrial mixers, and operators incorporate the exact proportion of sugar, milk powder, and cocoa butter, giving rise to the unique formula that distinguishes M&Ms. Finally, the chocolate enters the conching process, where huge steel cylinders stir it for hours. This refines its texture, removes bitter notes, and enhances that intense, unmistakable cocoa flavor. The result is a shiny, uniform, and silky chocolate. Step 3. Core molding. With the liquid chocolate prepared, one of the most impressive moments of the entire production begins. The tempered chocolate flows through millimeter-calibrated dosing nozzles that drop thousands of exact droplets onto refrigerated metal bands. In a matter of seconds, each droplet solidifies to become a perfect and uniform sphere. The machines work with surgical precision. Every sphere must have the same weight, diameter, and density. A minimal deviation would be enough to ruin millions of pieces. The pace here is enormous. In a single production line, more than 2 million cores can be formed per hour, aligned in endless rows. At this point, however, they still have no color, no characteristic hardness, and no iconic M. They are just pure chocolate hearts waiting to receive their definitive armor, the legendary crunchy sugar shell. Step 4. The sugar shell. The millions of chocolate spheres enter enormous rotating drums known as panners. There, while spinning relentlessly, a thin layer of water and sugar syrup is sprayed onto them in ultra-thin layers. Each layer is dried before the next one is applied, and this process is repeated dozens of times to form a hard and perfectly uniform shell. This is where M&Ms acquire their unique resistance. They don't melt in your hand, but they do melt in your mouth. The sugar shell was originally designed during World War II so that soldiers could carry chocolate in combat without it melting in the sun or their pockets. What began as a military innovation ended up becoming one of the most famous snacks on the planet. At the end of this step, the M&Ms are still uncolored, small, crunchy, and resistant white spheres. Step 5. The color burst and the final seal. Here begins the transformation that turns simple chocolate balls into the M&Ms we all know. Millions of spheres enter huge rotating drums again, but this time they receive baths of safe and perfectly measured food colorings. Each drum is dedicated to a distinct color: red, yellow, green, blue, orange, or brown. Precision machines control every step to ensure the perfect statistical blend of each color in millions of packages. Next, a thin layer of edible wax is applied to intensify the shine and protect the pieces. And right here comes the most famous touch: the letter M. In a high-speed line, the M&Ms are automatically aligned, and a precision printing system applies the letter with edible ink in fractions of a second. A curious detail is that not all of them are printed with the M. Around 20% are intentionally left unmarked. Step 6. Extreme quality control. With the color and the mythical letter M printed, the M&Ms must still pass the most demanding examination in the entire plant: quality control. Here, every chocolate piece must be perfect, or it will be eliminated without mercy. The millions of pieces speed down conveyor belts while high-precision cameras and sensors analyze shine, color, uniformity, and the exact definition of the M. These systems are so fast that they check hundreds of thousands of units per minute, detecting defects impossible for the human eye to see. After this first filter, physical tests arrive. Randomly selected batches are subjected to checks for hardness, coating thickness, and color resistance. Finally, human judgment comes into play. Specialized tasters sample batches to confirm that the flavor, aroma, and crunch are exactly what millions of consumers expect worldwide. Only those that pass 100% of the tests continue on the line. Step 7. Packaging and distribution. In enormous automated lines, thousands of pieces per second fall into precision hoppers that dose the exact amount of candy into each bag. Ultra-fast sensors verify the weight and quantity in real time. Before sealing, each bag receives an injection of nitrogen to keep the sugars shine, the chocolate's freshness, and that perfect crunch intact. In fractions of a second, the packaging is heat-sealed. Finally, the bags are grouped into boxes and loaded onto giant pallets, beginning a worldwide journey to more than 100 countries. Amazingly, M&Ms haven't only traveled on Earth, they have also been to space. Since 1981, NASA has included them in its missions because they are easy to transport, do not melt, and do not create crumbs that could float in zero gravity, literally making them little chocolate astronauts. Thus, what started as a simple bitter seed on a tropical tree ends up transformed into one of the most famous and consumed candies on the planet. To conclude, tell us, did you imagine this entire process? What is your favorite color when you open a bag?